Hey guys, it's Alonzo with Last Legacy Gaming here doing my Vegito deck profile that I got first place at a Win at SCR tournament. This is very similar to the list I played, except a couple tweaks after I had played in the tournament. But most of the same list, and I really am liking it, and I think this deck has so much potential. And it only gets better as the next sets drop. So if you guys want to update a deck profile with the next set, let me know, comment below. I'll drop that for you guys. For now, this is the current build. Has so much potential, has a lot of power. The only weaknesses this deck really has is just removal, and energy is crucial. But other than that, this deck has a really high ceiling, high potential. You have a lot of cards in hand and a lot of tools. So it's just really good, and I really like it. So just wanted to show it off. So of course we got Vegito. All your Gokus and Vegitos gain red, blue, and green. And then we'll go with the main deck. We played 2 4-star ball. We searched this off with Familial Bonds, just a free card. Later in the game, you put this back with your super combo and basically just get free cards off your super combos. And sometimes it's just good to have additional cards that just, free combo, so you have a little bit of wiggle room. But yeah, it's really good in the late game to put it back and just resolve them, and it's super free. So you definitely play that. One of the best parts of the deck is Familial Bonds, as well as Sensu Bean. And then 1 max power, I always play this in my decks. Removal and a recurring negate. Really good. I love the utility of having this in the deck. Next we play 4 Goku. Basically draw 1, and if your opponent has 3 or more energy, you make it at 25k. This is really good to the late game, just start swinging. Very low resource and just big impact for, like, if the attack goes through, they're gonna have to combo a good amount of cards. As well as when you evolve on top of this card and being an evolve target, the Vegito that you evolve will keep the boost, so it's really good. This card is just great. It has unique, but it's okay because most of the time after you swing you just go into Vegito with it, so it's always, usually never ever a problem. And we play 2 Vegeta hand trips. Next set, this is going to be the green one because we do play green Arrival in this deck. So it does the same thing as a new one, but it's just green, so it's better for Rival. But we just need more names for Vegeta and Goku that are good. I see a lot of decks playing more of utility Gokus and Vegetas, which I totally understand. But I feel like a lot of the ones that are playing are just unnecessary and don't go to your game strategy and don't advance your game state. Basically, I think with all the hand trips, you want to be able to easily evolve into Vegito and not waste any resources, not lose any hand advantage. And that's one of the biggest pros of this deck is you have such a big hand, and you can play really aggressively and tap out and not worry at all. So this deck is just really good for that, and I think that's why we play more of the hand trips, so it's really good for that. So that's 6 hand trips so far, and then we play 1 more hand trip. It's the Vegeta. Obviously just good for blow, but the biggest thing is this has barrier, so you can play it on turn 1, which is your optimal play. Plays on turn 1, and whenever you want a Vegito or Piccolo Jr., you just have this available because they're not going to interact with it. This is one of your best starters, just because you can choose whenever you want to go in, and you're not your opponent usually can't choose, or they have to waste a lot of resources to get rid of it. So it's perfect. So definitely play 4 of those. All right. So next card we play is 4 Sensu Bean. This is one of the deck's biggest enablers, and drawing so much basically that lets you do stuff. All the cards you have is Sensu Bean, because you just when you have such a big hand, you just Sensu Bean, evolve, play Piccolo Jr., play Familial Bonds, and it's just super good and gives you so much value. This card is one of the deck's biggest enablers, and I can't say enough about this card. And then we play 1 more Pseudo Bean in a way. It's just 1 Phantom Fist. I was playing 2, but space is ridiculously tight. I wish honestly I could be playing 3 of this card just because it's really good. The Activate Battle on the 5-drop Vegito is an Activate Battle or main, so you usually never want to evolve in your own turn unless you know it's a kill turn. But you want to evolve in your opponent's turn to get the max value. When they try to swing in and they try to commit to an attack, you just pop their card, draw 2 cards, and rip a card from their hand. This is really good because it gives you an additional energy on your opponent's turn, so you can evolve and have energy to negate or do any other stuff that you want to. It gets rid of 15k or less, and you just discard 1 of the red cards. So what's all the cards that you have in your hand, this is basically just a free extender removal, and just definitely extends your gameplay. So really good. Just another energy untapper. Right, and one of the power plays, one of the 2 bigger power plays that we play in this deck is Piccolo Jr. Eradicator of Beast. Usually turn 1 you want to play a hand trip, turn 2 you play this, attack, draw 2. They'll depending on the deck, like they may not be able to out this card in the early game. Maybe if they don't have a lot of comp power. And when those instances, this card is absolutely phenomenal. But you're gonna expect normally against like another maybe like an aggro deck or something like that, they're gonna get rid of it, which is totally okay. You stay at high life while you put pressure and never lose resources, and you put pressure on them. So that's exactly what you want to do. It's no problem at all. I really like it at 4. This card just does wonders, and it's always good in the late game or the early game. So really good. All right. Next card we play is for Raditz. This card is phenomenal. Puts back your Dragon Balls as well as your 7-drop Vegitos, and make sure that you stick to your game plan. You can do whatever you need to, and everything, all your resources are in your deck like you need them to be. So just a great super combo. The only one we would play in this deck. And we play 2 Kai because a lot of times you'll burn them with Piccolo Juniors. And when you drop this at the end of the game, that makes every attack basically a critical attack, because they'll be at 2 usually when they're burned by Piccolo Jr. So you'll have a lot of bodies. You just keep pushing in until one attack goes in. You have so many cards in your hand, and you basically just overwhelm them at that point. So definitely 2 Kai. I don't think you need any more. I think 2 is absolutely perfect for this deck. All right, and then we play 2 Testing Opposition, just to have a free negate. It is a Self-Awakener at 5, but just to have another free negate and just a little bit more flexibility. Just a good card to have in your deck. And then one of the reasons that I saw a lot of Vegito deck profiles are playing the best card to play in this deck, which I didn't understand why, is Familial Bonds. I've been watching a lot of deck profiles, and none of them have played this card, or the majority have not played this card. This is the second biggest enabler in this whole deck, besides being this plus Goku. Basically just gives you so much value, and this card is essential, honestly. I don't think I would play this deck if this card didn't exist. But this card just does so much. It searches your balls, gives you free advantage, you put them back, and you play your bodies. Sometimes you can play just a 1-drop Vegeta, like a 1-drop Vegeta, just a hand trip, just draw, and that's totally fine, because this is basically a 2 energy for free on Best Circumstances. You get a Goku and a name, or this basically gives you exactly the same, the name that you need in the circumstance. So 2 energy, you get a hand trip that gives you exactly the name you need to advance your game state. Cards very flexible, really good, and totally essential. This is what you mulligan for on your turn 1 besides your hand and trips. Alright, and we'll play 2 Kaioken just to have some removal. Like I said before, removal and energy efficiency in this deck are very important. So we have 2 Gokus that basically can board wipe, and then it is a Goku name, so you can drop it, kill their board, and basically then evolve over it. So that's really nice. But yeah, it's really good to have that in the main deck. Then we play 2 Gokus for some Self-Awakening and a 1-drop Negate after turn 3. Just really good, and just a little bit more flexibility. Just having Negate that plays a Goku name, so next turn you can evolve. You could also be playing the 1-drop Goku and Vegeta that's blue, but I feel like these cards are just better in this deck because they Self-Awaken and they're just more flexible. So yeah, I like those. Right, and then one of the best cards in this deck that I really like is Vegeta. It's Self-Awakener, but it's also a counterplay for 15k or less. So they hit you with like Trunks Prospect, or they try to hit you with Frieza Charismatic. This checks power level, not energy cost, which is really nice, and in a lot of circumstances comes up. So I really like this card, and it does a lot for this deck. Alright, and then we play 4 Preface of Recovery Son Goku. This is a card you want to play off of Familial Bonds. In the later game, just keep basically just swarming them for free, and it's super nice. This card is just phenomenal, and it's just free energy. It's super efficient. Cannot say enough about this card. Alright, and we play 4 Topo. Topo has always been the MVP. We have other cards, so just in case they have counterplay, which is okay because we usually have such a big hand. But Topo still, if they don't have a response, this card just gives you tremendous value. This card's just phenomenal. I never play less than 4 Topo in my red decks. Alright, and then the next card we have is the second best power play of this deck, first or second. So they're very close to each other. It's Vegito. Basically, you evolve, don't lose any hand advantage, and you can pay 2 to evolve during activate main or battle, which is the biggest thing. Having that flexibility, you never want to evolve on your turn usually, unless you know you're going to go for the kill and like pop their block or something. But usually you evolve on their turn to basically get the most value, and this card just does so much. One of the games I had to play in the tournament is against Broly, and basically I wasn't able to go 3 energy, or else he was going to hit me with the 6-drop Broly. So I played this 2 energy. And I evolved, and I had 1 energy standing. I passed, he attacked, I Sensu Bean, and then I evolved. Actually, battle popped his Broly, and he was able to get rid of a card in my hand, but that was totally okay because I stopped his attack. And I think later in that turn, it was just like the best play. I got a lot of value off it. So I think this card having that flexibility is just super good and gives you so much. Alright, next we play 2 Secret Identity because this is the best remove you can play. It's free, can get rid of a lot of little bodies. Phenomenal for this deck. Can't say enough about this. You can play SS4 Bardock Dual Attacker, but I feel like that doesn't really go well with this deck wants to do. So I'd rather just have this and have that utility. Do those. Alright, and then we play 3 Vegito. We play 3 just because if we see any, we don't have to worry about putting it back in the deck, or if we like somehow we super combo, we put it back. But it's also 1 plus 10k, which actually comes up at certain instances when you're going in for game. But it's just nice to have 3 and never have to worry about the quantity in your deck. Alright, and then the last card we play is SS3 Scramble. This card came in clutch so many times. I think this card won me like 2 or 3 games at least. Basically, when they're at 5, when you're at 5 energy, you can rival for 5 and burn them for 2. If you have like a double strike or something, you can go in with your leader, double strike, and then bean, and then rival this, burn them for 2, and now that's crucial. Now everything is basically in lethal range, or if you just get them down to 2, you literally attack with anything. Like let's say you attack at unison, so they have a like, you're like, oh yeah, they're gonna be like, okay, that's fine. And then you just combo green and red card and you play and you win the game. So this card is just super good. And sometimes I even like when the game has been dragged out, I played it for 8, and that's just really cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching Deck for a while. I think this deck has so much potential, and it only gets better as the next set comes. So peace. Thanks for watching.